Cellercise family, we're doing things up a little differently tonight. Welcome to my small office upstairs. Hope you had a great week. I know I did. I'm going to actually post some of the different things that I've been doing over the week. But thank you for joining us. I hope we have some new visitors. We're going to be doing more live presentations as well. So I'm going to be out working with people that have no idea what Cellercise is about. And we're going to be introducing them to it live so you can actually see the reactions. I'm not worried. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. Tonight, we're going to go over some questions. We're going to go over customer reviews. And then what we're going to talk about is mental health. I want to give you a happy pill. And it's not something you can get in a drug. It's literally self-administered. If we're not going to do much in the way of actual Cellercise, although I am going to talk about hip flexors and answer some questions. And so I'll share some of those methodologies with you that have been helpful. And then for those who want to stay with us, if you're achieving everything you want to achieve, then you probably don't need to stay. But if you haven't, we might be able to share something with you that might very well make a difference. And that's what this is all about. I want you to go at the end of this program with something in hand that you can apply in your day-to-day life to reach your greater health potential. Now that's physical, mental, spiritual, and emotional. So the principles we'll be talking about can be applied to virtually anything. So let's read some customer reviews. Did I just cut my head off when I stood up? I did. Sorry. All right, is that any better? Mm-hmm. Good. Okay. Oh, the customer review. Okay, when I grabbed my customer reviews, I think I grabbed some of them from October. So, we're in October, so this should be fun. Although I think this looks familiar. I just wanted to share an update. Several years ago, I injured my shoulder. I could barely raise my arm. I could raise my arm about shoulder level. I could not put my arm above my head. I could barely put it behind my back. I could no longer tie on an apron behind my back because of my injury. My bicipital tendon popped out of place. That was the most painful experience. My doctor was able to pop it back into place, and I was told I could no longer sleep on that side, which was my preferred side to sleep on. At the time, I was also asking this group for a recommendation for a good support bra. Sheffit was recommended. Unfortunately, I was not able to get it on by myself 2 years ago because of my shoulder injury. Just too painful to use. Another Cellerciser user sent me a link to a video showing how she helped her sore shoulder. It really helped. And then I made some changes for my shoulder issue. I did read this last time. But I want you to take a look at the Miss Rebounder app if you have a chance, because I actually show some of the different shoulder movements that we can be doing to open up the shoulder rotator cuff and help increase flexibility and strength in the muscles and ligaments. As of today, I pretty much have full use of my shoulder. I can tie on an apron behind my back. I can sleep on that side again. I forgot how bad my shoulder bicipital tendon was. The exercise that I did on the Cellercise really helped. I also did some on my Life Pro vibration plate. Yesterday I pulled out my Cellerciser to get started on the 30-day challenge and realized the bras that I've been wearing don't work with the Cellerciser, haha. I happened to order a Sheffit to try and was able to try it yesterday, and it is amazing for those of us that are well endowed, and I can use it without pain in my shoulder. The Cellerciser is amazing. I've had mine for about 12 years now. I don't use it like I should, but now that I have good support and a place to put it where it is always out, I'm excited to get going on it again. I just wanted to share that experience in case others were struggling. We don't realize how the simple things matter until we can't do them, like trying to put on a bra, washing my hair, trying to tie on an apron. Just simple daily things that I couldn't do. I really thought I was going to have permanent limited use of my shoulder. Thank you, David Hall, for coming up with this Cellerciser. And Diane, again, thank you for sharing that. I'm sure it's going to help a great number of people. I've had issues with shoulders, with my knees, with my back, and I've developed routines that I do that have absolutely reversed. It takes time, but it has reversed the condition so that I have the flexibility, and I'm still enjoying a great quality of life. Brooklyn is behind the camera. Brooklyn, how did I do on our little travel to the Colorado River?
Oh, better than me.
Oh, she's in good shape. But we're climbing rocks and jumping and paddleboarding and racing, and you know, it's nice to be able to do that and enjoy that. And I want all of you to recognize we have a greater health potential. And just because we may have a limited issue right now doesn't mean we can't reverse that. Often we can. And that's what we want to do. Hello, Dave. I am 72 and have a Cellerciser, been a Cellerciser user for over 10 years. So these are people that are well acclimated to Cellercise. I'm writing to share my great appreciation for this health and fitness tool and a recent experience. My low back was aching and stiff for months. I couldn't sleep through the night. I then went to an orthopedist and physical therapist. I went through months of therapy. I also had steroid injections and got a new bed. We then added a daily 10-minute routine on the Cellerciser, and that has made a big difference. With daily walking and my Cellerciser, I've been able to keep the pain and stiffness at bay. I'm also sleeping through the night again. Thank you, Dave. Jim, thank you, Jim, for sharing. And Brooklyn, if we get any questions that you may have that we'd like to send in, Brooklyn is watching the computer, so we can address some of those issues that you may have. David writes, I'm in need of a replacement set of caps for my legs on my Cellerciser. Do you sell those as a pack? And yes, we do. The caps on the legs have a lifetime warranty. They won't wear out. Now, if you lose them, you have to replace them. But the legs themselves are not like the typical rebounders. They're not going to crack. They're not going to wear down. They hold up very well. By the way, I'm in cancer treatment and use my Cellerciser as my primary exercise as I'm able. After surgery, I was able to gently walk in place on it and quit when I felt my wound hurt. That way I didn't get stranded a mile from home. Now I am building up my capabilities to support immune function, detox the chemo, and maintain improved muscle tone. Many thanks, Mr. Hall. And thank you, David. Okay, Judith writes, I recently purchased my rebounder. I love this app for how much it is helping to develop my workouts. I was repeating the same basic bounce each time. Now I open the app, follow the directions, and I've got my workout done. I started at the beginner's level and really like the progression of different routines. I find them easy to learn, and it's fun. Thank you. And that's what we want to do. We want to make it fun. And as far as Mr. Rebounder app, by Thursday or Friday, we should have the routine that we did the last time, which was we call it the fat eradicator, where we use the biggest muscles of the body to burn fuel and increase metabolism. I just literally got a text message 1 minute before I was able to address you, and Jeff told me that they will have that up by Thursday or Friday. They have to go through each different movement and reprogram it. And I can't even explain it all, but he said there was several things that have to be done. It's not a switch that you can just turn on and off. So they are working on it, and thank you, Jeff, for doing that. Okay. I've been Cellercising since November 2018. So again, somebody's been using for a while, and my legs have literally transformed. The cellulite is almost gone. My calves, thighs, and hamstrings have awesome muscle definition, and I've lost 81 pounds. My knees used to hurt, and I struggled to stand up from a chair, and now, wow, not one bit of pain or struggle. Now, I've got other customers who are going through this same issue, and I want you to have faith in yourself and your ability to achieve it, because this is somebody who's done the same thing. I recently started hiking, but the radical change is only from the Cellerciser. Stay consistent and you will see the results too. I have no doubt that it helps the bones also, but haven't studied it out for myself. I'm thrilled at the results. And thank you very much for sharing. All right, hello friends. I just had to share an immediate result I felt from Cellerciser. I love nuts, but should only eat about a handful. Well, sure enough, I overdid it on the cashews and was starting to get a stomach ache. I remember Dave Hall saying Cellercising was good for digestion, especially the twisting move. So as much as I didn't feel like getting on and jumping, I forced myself to and felt so much better within minutes. Just thought I'd share it in case this helps anyone. Next time I get an upset stomach, I'm going straight to the Cellerciser. And Tyler, thank you for sharing. I think that was a new one. I don't remember that. And yes, that gentle twisting for digestion, elimination. You're not just twisting, you're also moving up and down. Great way if you have indigestion, or if you're burping a baby, it's a nice way to burp a baby as well. Okay, hello friends, I just had to show. Okay, that was the same one. And that one we just read. All right, let's get into some of the questions. Hi Dave, any advice that you can give on strengthening hip flexors would be appreciated. I'm recovering from a hip flexor injury and would love to know the best exercises. Thank you in advance. Let me show you some progressive movements that can be done for the hip flexor. Can they see me if I need to move this? Thanks, Brooklyn. We're still getting used to this office area. Thank you. Okay, so I'll speak up. Okay, so the hips, there are very few exercises that I know of other than yoga that really address the hip flexors effectively. The advantage of Cellercise is we're not just doing the muscles and the ligaments, we're also doing the fascia. Because as we're moving up and down, every cell membrane is gently being massaged. So starting off with a gentle warm-up, just like this, is a great way to warm up the tissue in this area. As we've done that for a couple minutes, then spreading our feet apart a little bit and simply rocking from the right foot to the left foot, side to side. That's going to work the hips that are dropping into the mat, and we're working these muscles right here as well. After we've done that for several moments and we feel flexible, by the way, on that movement is another technique which helps the psoas muscle as well as the hip flexors are the muscles that we use when we're lifting our knee up for our chest. And these muscles are right here. So as we're doing a gentle twist in the hip socket area itself, we're working just these muscles. And then when we're doing the hip rock, we lift our shoulders up and down. We can feel gently, we can feel the stretch all along this whole area of the body as we're doing that, especially if we have any resistance or tightness, but it's gentle. You don't have to do it hard. The cells are automatically going to get stronger and more flexible all at the same time. And of course, the twist is a good one. As we get more advanced, then we can focus more on this whole area by simply taking, you've seen me do this for the back as well, taking our elbows, sticking up over our head, leaning a little bit, taking that right leg and just crossing in front, just like that. And if you have some tightness there, you'll probably feel that. That's okay. And then we do the same thing with the other side. Just up, cross over. The side that you have more stress or tension is the side you'll want to give a little more attention to. So those are some good movements. One more, and that one is done. You can take your hand, grab up here by your shin, lift it up, and gently start to bounce up and down. Because remember, when you stretch, you get the tension. When you bounce, you massage that tension away. That's what the Cellercising is doing without overstretching. As you become more flexible, you can move your hand from your shin up toward your foot and then bounce up and down. And as you pull that foot up and then bounce, if you're flexible and you don't have an issue, you won't feel anything. That's okay. If you do have some tension in that area, then as you start to bounce, you will feel it. And that's okay. But that extra bouncing is like a massage all throughout that whole area. I hope that helps. Okay. Hi Dave, I spoke with you 2 weeks ago and you were helpful with ideas on rehabbing my right foot that had 2 new broken bones. I am doing great. Thank you for sharing that with us, an update. At this point, I can baby bounce on both feet without a boot or external support and no pain. Also, my foot can do jogging on the Cellerciser. Can I continue to increase my activity on the Cellerciser as long as the foot stays pain-free? It is amazing. And again, I can't give you medical advice, and unfortunately that falls in the purview of that, but check with your doctor. Some of the things that we're doing with just crossing side to side, we're going to be working more of the muscles and ligaments and bones in that area, so we can increase flexibility. But you want to check with your doctor and make sure that that's something that he gives you a clean bill of health for. I don't know anything that's going to do better, because as you're moving on a Cellerciser, your bones, ligaments, and tendons are supporting your own natural alignment because they're moving. They're not restricted by a shoe or a boot. So depending upon your situation, then this could be fantastic for you. But if you've got a weakness in that area, you're not ready for that yet, you want to check. It's always a good idea to check with your doctor. Okay, any chance of a demo on using the Cellerciser and eye charts to improve vision? Also, how's Grace doing? Grace is doing fantastic. She's actually out there competing again. When, you know, it's just, she's amazing, absolutely amazing. She's made this kind of into more of a ministry, and she's helping a lot of other people that have been challenged as well. And so she's been an inspiration to many of us. She did what many of us have done when we have been injured and the doctor said, well, you can't do this anymore, you can't do this anymore. And we found out, yes, we can. Yes, we can. We've strengthened the muscles and supporting ligaments and tendons in ways that are often not available through traditional exercise type routines. So she's doing great. Okay, eye chart to improve vision. If you put an eye chart on a window or create one, and we're going to talk about some proclamations, declarations, affirmations in just a few moments. But if you can make a series of affirmations, this is powerful. Please, this is really powerful. I still live by a lot of the ones that I've had all my life. And like, no one can destroy your faith unless, no one can destroy my faith unless I consent. We don't consent. We hold on to an objective or a vision, and that impacts our mental ability as well. But we're going to talk about how to do that in a way that is positive, and that will help us to achieve what we want. But if you put together an eye chart, different size fonts, different types of fonts, and put it up on a poster board, and then as you have it up on the window, as you're bouncing them down, read out loud. Read those affirmations with emotion, with feeling. Your body doesn't know the difference. I hope and pray some of you will try this and see how it feels. But as you're bouncing them down and you're reading it with emotion, you're going to be reading from right to left, up and down, diagonal, across, back and forth. You're reading these things, and you're bouncing at the same time. As you're bouncing at the same time, the eye muscle is also flexing. It's weightless weight, as you're pumping and increasing circulation. You're working the eye muscle as you're doing the reading. You have different size fonts, so some of them are smaller, some of them are larger. And then you look through the window at a distance and focus for a few moments at a distance, and then come back to the eye chart again. People that have had really good results on that have done it often for as much as 20 minutes at a time. They're really working the eye. But we've had some incredible stories about people when they've gone to the DMV and they were able to read with, they said 20/20 vision, and they didn't have that before they began that. Now, that's going to be different on a lot of us because we don't necessarily know if it's just weaknesses in the eye or if the crystal is hardened or what we're up against. But that routine has been helpful for a lot of people. It definitely increases circulation. Okay, is Cellercise exercise too vigorous an exercise for tired adrenals? And what about high cortisol? What can lower cortisol levels? The moving up and down helps to increase circulation to the entire endocrine system as well as getting rid of stress and tension. We do it with babies. Babies are joyful when we hold a baby in our arms and gently bounce the baby up and down. Okay, so we can do the same thing to ourselves. Just relax and gently bounce up and down. It's a great stress reduction. And as far as adrenals, we're stimulating this gentle movement, this twisting right here, helps to massage the adrenals. It's not overtaxing at all. This is actually helping to open up circulation and communication with the body. And you're not doing it so intense when you're doing things like this that it's going to be taxing on the body. Hi, I need help with intense elbow pain, also hand, thumb, and wrist. I've been getting it treated by Chiro weekly, doing rehab exercises on and off the Cellerciser. Nothing is helping. What can I do? I've been using my Cellerciser regularly for almost 2 months, every day, 1 to 3 times a day. Still no relief from the pain. And also not seeing any fat loss or much strength gain. But I love it. Please help. Okay, as many of us know, don't stop. Hang in there. Call me. I'd be happy to discuss with you the routines or the movements that you are doing, because they can definitely make a difference as well. As far as the wrists and when you're gently bouncing up and down and moving these things, one of the things that I used for physical strength years ago when I damaged my tendon in the elbow was a Dynaball or PowerFlex. You can find them on Amazon, and you can do the little Dynaball and then bounce with it. And that just helped strengthen my ligaments and tendons and got rid of it when nothing else would work either. Is there an intensity difference if you have your feet wider apart? I don't never even thought about it. Just not really. What we want to have on the Cellerciser is resistance. We have to have resistance. If a unit is too soft, then the body's going to be sluggish. The lymph system's going to be sluggish. We want to have movement with resistance because that's how we build up muscle mass and bone density. Cellerciser does that. We don't want to have so much resistance that it is jarring, because jarring can damage the body, and that can create, like jogging and running on a treadmill, if it's too jarring, that for a lot of people it is. That impact accumulatively can do more damage than benefit. So the Cellerciser has a tridaptable spring. It's patented technology, and that larger diameter in the spring is where we're going to focus. If we're jumping higher or we weigh more, we need more spring than if we graduate from the center portion of the spring to the next section. And we never come to an abrupt stop or jar, but we do have resistance and G-forces. So whether we're 30 pounds or 300 pounds, we can Cellercise. Jumping is okay with bad knees? Question mark. How does jumping affect them? And thank you. Good question. We've got lots of material on our YouTube channel with regards to it. But again, we eliminate up to 7/8 of the ballistic impact or jar to the knee compared to running on a hard surface, according to research that was done by University of Utah several years ago. But just rocking side to side helps work the hips, the thighs, and the knees. Walking in place works the whole front part of the knee, and that starts to strengthen it. Now, you've probably heard of knee braces. People get a knee brace or they get a little extra support around the knee if they damage or injure the knee, which I've done a number of times. Yeah, but if you strengthen the supporting muscles and ligaments around the joint, you target those muscles and ligaments. That's like giving yourself your own natural knee brace. Those joints are dependent upon the muscles and ligaments supporting that joint area. And when they are compromised because of injury or weaknesses, then we're going to have more pressure on the joint and more knee problems. As we help to restructure, strengthen, and rebuild those muscles, ligaments, and tendons, then often we have better support in those issues so we can retain more fluid, and those issues can slowly fade away. So, all right. That's that. And I'm going to bring this back up, sit down on the couch, and we're going to have a heart-to-heart with everybody for a minute, because I want to share some concepts. Tell me, you can move that down. It's okay? Tell me if I messed it up. Thanks, guys. All right. Some ideas that I wanted to share with you. We talked about a happy pill. We talked about what we can do, and we talked about physical health and fitness, and that's great. We see what we want to accomplish physically. And you've heard me, many of you, talk about this before. We also have a mental health fitness area that does not get enough attention. It really doesn't. That's why people have a hard time, they set up a New Year's resolution and then they fall by the wayside, or they try to do some kind of program routine and something else gets in the way and they just fall by the wayside because we're not exercising the mental part of it. And that's what we want to do right now. So if you have a paper and a pencil or pen, you might want to write down some of these principles, and you let me know if you think they're helpful to you or not. But let's see. I've heard it said years ago, if you're not making the progress you want to make and are capable of making, it is simply because your goals are not clearly defined. So one of the things we want to do is understand how to clearly define our goals so we will make the progress that we want to make. I remember a lecture. I was in front of several thousand people, and I illustrated a principle. And we've got two energies, guys. We've got dark energy and we've got light energy, and frankly, there's so much dark energy right now in the world today. It really is. We want to learn how to become more immune to that dark energy and more in tune with the light energy, because that's where we're going to find joy and happiness. If we get caught up in the dark energy, then we lose that connection to the light energy. Example, you're driving down the freeway. I may have shared this before, but it's a good example. You're driving down the freeway, you have your food right next to you on the seat. As you're driving down the freeway, this car just is trying to get around you. And you can see there's not enough room, but he speeds up, he gets directly in front of you, hits his brakes so that he can get off the off-ramp, causing you to have to hit your brakes. Your food that was right next to you is now all over the floor. You have one of two choices, dark energy or light energy. You can get angry and upset, yell, scream, flip them off. We've seen people do that. And there's a consequence to that. That's the dark energy. It takes you down this other direction. It's not going to help you reach your greater potential. It prevents you from doing it. Whereas you take that same scenario, you hit the brake, everything lands on the floor, and instead of yelling and screaming at them, you find a reason to be grateful. That's hard, but this is true in relationships. This is true in everything we do. You find a reason to be grateful. And you pray for that person. Literally, or be thankful that you didn't get into an accident, you didn't get hurt, that he didn't get hurt. Every day, we can focus on that which is negative or focus on that which is positive. Every day is going to affect our mental health. I like the qualities of an ice cube. If you take an ice cube, it's H2O. It's just vibrating at a low frequency, right? So it has its own potential at that level. If you raise the energy in that ice cube, it melts into water. It's still H2O. It's just now operating at a different level, and as a result of that, it has abilities that it didn't have when it was an ice cube. When you continue to heat up the water, it then becomes steam. It's still H2O, but it's vibrating at a much higher level, and it has new possibilities. That's what I want us to recognize. I've often said, and you've heard me say it before, but it's worth saying again, in order to have what we have not, we must first become what we are not. As we become what we are not, then what we have not becomes the natural manifestation of the person we've now become. But in order to become what we are not, we must first be able to see ourselves, each other, that which is around us, and that which is within us. Not just as we are today, but as we can become tomorrow. That's the way I pray that God sees each one of us. The moment we can see ourselves not as we are, but as we can become, as a father, a mother, husband, and wife, in our physical and our health, in our social and our cultural, how we interact with people, in our spiritual and ethical, mental, educational areas of our life, as we literally create a vision, we hold on and nurture and feed the vision. That's a process of exercise, just like Cellercise is. But when we take the steps to do that, we hold on to the vision, it will grow into a desire. We have to create the vision first. We hold on to the vision, it grows into a desire. Now there, ladies, you understand what this means. Men, you do too. You see a certain tool, you know how that tool is going to work. And you really want to add that tool to your, if you like to work on things. It could be any number of things. It could be golf balls, whatever. But you visualize it, and pretty soon you have to have it. Women, pair of shoes. You visualize what those shoes are going to look like on your feet and how you're going to feel, what you're going to wear with them. And all of a sudden, your vision creates a desire. You fed the desire with prayer, meditation, affirmation, proclamation, declaration. The desire becomes a passion. Passion compels us to action. The action creates the end result. Where did it all begin? Started with a vision. Ideas. Guys, ideas affect the way we think. That's why there's so much negative energy right now. It's because it's trying to affect the way that you think in all kinds of areas of our life. That's the dark energy. Ideas affect the way we think. The way we think affects the way we act. And you see that occurring. Again, we're going to talk about the happy pill. I want you to become immune to that as much as possible. Because, again, dark energy, light energy, we want the force to be with us. You know, I call it for me, I'm a Christian, so I call it the light of Christ. And you may call it something else, but the principle doesn't change. You got the yin and the yang. You've got the light energy and the dark energy, and it's just there. And where you're going to dwell, or what area you want to dwell in, is going to become your choice. But your choice is going to have a consequence in everything that you do. And realizing that, again, I want to help you understand the steps that you can take so you wake up every morning and you're empowered. So you hold on to the vision, it grows in desire, nurture desire, desire becomes a passion, passion compels us to action, action creates the end result. And I ask people, where does it all begin? And it's real simple. It begins with the vision. Ideas, again, affect the way we think. The way we think affects the way we act. The way we act to a large degree determines our results. We want to take charge of our results. We have to be willing to take charge of the ideas we are allowing ourselves to be exposed to on a day-to-day basis. You've heard me say you cannot find happiness at the end of your journey if you're not willing to take it with you along the way. So it's now, it's today, it's where we are right now that we change and we become the person we want to become in order to achieve the things that are important to us in our life and in our future. So, all right. So how do we apply that? I've often, and many of you have heard me share this too. When you walk into a dark room and it's dark, and you don't like the darkness, it's all around you. And so you contend with it. You're fighting with the darkness. You're kicking, you're screaming. That darkness could represent anything. It could represent obesity. It could represent an addiction. It could represent a health issue. Whatever, it could represent a relationship issue. It's the same principle. If you feed it, you empower it. So I tell people, you walk in that dark room and you see these people and they're fighting against the darkness and they want to overcome the darkness, but they forget in the process of fighting against the darkness, they become the very thing they're fighting against, and they deal in fear, anxiety, frustration, depression, all these negative energies. This is why exercise of the mental health area is so important, especially with what we're being inundated with today. Sure, we can contend with it, and we may feel justified in doing it. But the problem is once you contend with that which is negative, again, there's a consequence. We become that which we're contending against. So rather than fight against that which is wrong, I suggest, okay, we walk into that same dark room. We know it's darkness. We recognize the darkness. But instead of contending with the darkness, let's say it's cancer, let's say it's obesity or an addiction, instead of fighting against that which is wrong, we're going to promote that which is right. It's a different energy. For most of us, it's like walking into that dark room, and over here on the wall, there's a light switch. For most of us, it's a dimmer switch. But as we begin to turn on the light and then turn up the light, what happens to the darkness automatically? It cannot abide the light. And guys, that's where we need to get in our own personal lives, as well as in our society, in our culture, and in this world. We need to stop feeding upon that which is wrong, contending with that which is wrong, I believe. Now, you may think I'm wrong, and that's okay. I respect, your feelings as well. I have watched over my lifetime people that play in the pig pen. That's what I call it. They're playing in the pig pen. They're fighting in the pig pen. They're going to get slop on them. When they get the slop on them, it's going to affect their character. And when it affects their character, it's going to affect their ability to be able to achieve their greater health potential, whatever that is, physical, mental, spiritual, or emotional. So we turn up, rather than fight against that which is wrong, we promote that which is right. We walk into that dark room, we turn up the light, we begin to see obstacles as that light increases that maybe we couldn't see before. We now have the ability to go around them, over them, through them, under them. It's an exercise, though. It's not that the conditions around us are ever going to change. They may or may not. But the conditions within us start to change. And when the conditions within us start to change, we start to respond differently to the conditions around us. We determine what works for us and what doesn't work for us. So let's bring that home a little bit more. Let's say weight loss. Okay, first thing to do, appreciate where we are right now. Develop some affirmations. We say, I love where I am right now. I don't care if you do or don't. You say it. Your subconscious mind doesn't know the difference, and your cells are constantly reacting, being reacted upon by what we say, think, do, and feel. So if we want to take charge of how we feel, we want to have that happy pill, we've got to start today, right now. We've got to be happy with where we are right now. See, that's empowering. That's turning up the light. When we can be happy with where we are right now, then we can continue, instead of fighting against that which is wrong, we can continue to turn up that which is right, that which is going to help us reach our goal and our objective. So every way and every day and every way, I'm getting better and better. Every day and every way, I'm feeling better and better. Every day, my immune system is working more efficiently. And then there's another step to this. So we develop the affirmations, and if you need help, give me a call. I'm happy to help you with the affirmations. I want you to achieve your greater health and fitness potential. We all have one. But that part, again, that element that is often missing is a mental part of it. We don't give enough attention to that. And it's an exercise. So we start off, whether we believe it or not, we may not believe that doing these little curls, bouncing them down, are going to work. But as we start to do it, we start to see the results. But if we had never done it, we'd never see the results. It's kind of like a rose bush. If you've got a rose bush, sitting right next to the rose bush is this incredible fertilizer. It's going to do wonders for that rose bush. Like Cellercise. But if you never take and utilize the fertilizer, it doesn't matter how good it could be. It's not going to work for you or for that rose. So we want passionately to take charge of the ideas that we're allowing ourselves to be exposed to. So what we watch, what we think about, what goes on up here. If we have a mental issue, if we have a negative feeling about ourselves, we have to exercise a positive one. If we have a negative relationship, you can feed on that. And boy, is that going to mess up the relationship. Or you can look for that which is positive. I still struggle, just like many of you, with a lot of these things. but I know they work. I know they work, and I know sometimes we can't control that which is around us, but we can generally control that which is within us. So that which is around us doesn't have the power that it did over us. So what we watch, what we read, what we think about, who we associate with, all of that is going to have an effect over time on your character and how you feel about yourself and how you respond and what you do and what you achieve. So it's always healthful to get together with people that are going to be a little more like-minded. They're going to be positive, goal-oriented, successful people whose attitudes are going to help affect you and your attitude so that you can reach that great health potential again. So the happy pill is when you sit down and you write family and home. Define what's important to you in your family and home. Most people will not take the time to do this, and those that do will experience a difference. It's almost guaranteed. They've already done studies on this. So you have your family and home. Define what you'd like to have. When you walk into your home, what's it like? What do you want it to be like? What you may or may not have control over it. But again, you can visualize what you want. You can create those areas that you have that are going to give you that kind of peace of mind, that place that you feel good about. And if you're equally yoked and you have somebody that you can work with, come up with the 10 commandments for family living for you in your home. You can do that. And if you're all in agreement, you're doing it to create harmony. Years ago, I wrote an idea, and it's an idea we're still working on. But my home is a temple, a refuge, a place of tranquility. That's an affirmation. Okay, what can I now do to help create that environment? So family and home. Financial and career. Are you happy with where you are right now? If you're not, what would you really like to be doing? And who would you like to be doing it with? Where can you learn from somebody who's successful, who's already in that industry? Can you visualize yourself? Find somebody who is successful in that industry. Talk to them, take them to lunch. Find out what it is that helped them to achieve what they've achieved. Buy them a lunch. It's worth it. But in your financial and career, look at somebody who's successful. How do they walk? How do they talk? What kind of a handshake do they have? How do they dress? Who do they associate with? It's up to you. But there's more. You define. You take the steps to define your financial and career. How much money do you want to make? What do you want to do with that money? What's the lifestyle you would like to have? Don't worry about how you're going to achieve it. It starts, remember, with the vision. Ideas affect the way we think. The way we think affects the way we act. The way we act starts to determine our results. So, try it. Your physical and health. Okay? You want to have more energy? Say it. Say it. I feel so much energy today. I feel so energized. I feel wonderful. I'm so grateful my body is taking care of me so I can enjoy the quality of life that I do. And I know that every day and every way I'm getting better and better. You write the affirmations. If you need help again, give me a call. If you're fighting against something that was wrong, find something that is right instead. So, for example, I'll give you cancer. Fighting against cancer, and you're dealing with fear and anxiety and frustration and all these depression and concerns. And so rather than fighting against the cancer, and people say, what? Don't fight against cancer. And I say, no, don't fight against cancer. You empower that which you're fighting against. I said, build the immune system. Thank the body that the immune system is working more efficiently. See it, that area of darkness being filled with light. See it as being made healthy. Communicate, connect with your body. You may or may not ever achieve it, but the character of the person you become in the process of working toward it will define the person you are becoming, and you have a much better chance of achieving it. Some people call it faith, or the exercise of faith, the ability to see things not as they are, but again, as they can become. It starts there. Hold on to that vision. Social and cultural. What difference are you making in the world, at church, relationships? What do you like in the cultural area, in the arts? What do you contribute? Another part of the happy pill. Every day, find something you can do to help someone else. It's not going to deplete you. The more you give, the more it's going to affect your character. The more you give, the more you receive. I don't know why it works that way. Some people call it karma, do unto others as they would have them do it unto you. What goes around comes around, whatever you want to call it. It's a principle. And even when you don't have much and you feel like you're just struggling and it's hard, and I get it. I get it. Find something to be grateful for. Hold on to that. Find someone you can help who is in worse shape than yourself. And do something for them. And find out how it affects you. You know, I've had people, when we go to church, I say, hey, church is great. You can give away all these gifts. It can be a handshake, a compliment, a smile, pat on the back, a hug, whatever. But all these people giving all these gifts, I said, well, that's a great environment to be in front of. And they're feeling that light energy that's growing within them. And that's valuable. Get away from the darkness. Get around the light. Find something you can do to help somebody else. And watch what happens to your happy meter. It's just going to go up. Mental health. What do you want to achieve? I mean, mentally, or your mental educational. Talking about mental and educational. What do you want to learn? What do you want to learn about? Find something that maybe you wanted to learn about a long time ago and you have it. And get a book on it. Watch a YouTube video on it. Find something in your educational area that's going to challenge you a little bit. But see what happens to your happy meter when you do. Wow, I didn't realize that. I learned something new. I want to share this with somebody else. You do that, and your happy meter goes up even more. So you find something of interest and find somebody who is positive, goal-directed, like-minded. Don't cast your pearls among swine type thing. Find somebody who's going to be supportive of you and share that with them. Go where you're celebrated as much as you possibly can. And then your spiritual and ethical. Yeah. For those of us who believe that there is nothing other than this world, I'm sorry. I really am, because there is. And you're missing out on a lot more. We're not alone. I know that. I know that. And I've experienced it. We are not alone. And the more that you reach out to that which is around you, the more you're going to experience events that will help you realize, yeah, you're right, I'm not alone. So recognizing those that are around you, honoring them, thanking them for watching over you and helping you, connecting with them. Watch what happens to your happy meter. So again, same principle, walk into a dark room, you can fight against the darkness, you look at what's going on in our world today, or you say, yeah, it's going on in the world, I get it. That's not my world. I don't want that world. I'm going to find a way to create my world. Remember the ice cube? We can operate at this level if we want to, or we can rise above it, operate at a higher level. We can rise above that and operate at a higher level. It's not that the conditions around us will ever change, but the conditions within us will. And people in this world are not going to change unless it's inside, in their heart. You cannot force them. You can try, but until they have a change of heart, it's not going to happen. The only way they're going to have a change of heart is to experience what life is like when they are around positive, goal-directed, enthusiastic people whose attitudes help. So that's the happy pill. Call me if I can be of any help. If you think there's anything of value in what I said tonight, please share it with others. Let's see if we can't make a difference in our attitudes, in our reactions, and with what we're accomplishing. Thank you. We'll see you in a couple weeks. We'll do something completely different. Appreciate all of you. The Cellercise family is, if you haven't noticed, they're unique. They care about each other. They support each other. And I'm so grateful for that. and grateful to be a part of it. I hope I said something that may have some value to someone. Thank you very much, and we'll see you in a couple weeks.